Hey, welcome to Seduction Tech. I am here now with another special person. And I've known her for many, many years, and I've seen a lot of good transitions, especially the latest, where now you are and I don't want to get it wrong. Are you a psychologist, counselor? Tell us tell us your name. Well, I'll tell you the name. Ana Maria Grisales.
Uh-huh.
But I don't want to get your title wrong because I know there's psychologists, there's psychiatrists, there's counselors, there's marriage people. I don't know that world. So you tell me, what do you do, who you are?
I'm a clinical social worker. So I work, I specialize in children, youth, and family.
Okay. So what does a clinical social worker do?
So we are, yes, we provide psychotherapy, but we also we work with everything in the environment, not just what the person is struggling with at the moment. So it's not just your depression, it's everything that comes in contact with you. What are the environmental struggles that might be leading you to feel a certain way? So it's not just one thing. So we look at the person as a whole, like everything that can affect that person, their environment, where they live, who do they come in contact with. When we work with kids, then we look at the school, peer relationship, medical history, and all of that. Because I did my undergrad in psychology, and then I was about to start my master's, and then I realized there's really no point on sitting with a person in a chair for 10 weeks or 5 months or 10 years if I'm not taking into consideration that they might be experiencing a lot of other things like homelessness or, other environmental issues. So yeah, clinical social work is like a broader approach to.
Wow. You just told me like a whole world that I didn't even know exists.
See.
And I know the psychiatrists give you meds and the psychologists don't. That's about where I go. And with that, but this podcast obviously it's a little different, but not too different, right? Because actually you touched on some things that I want to ask you about. Because the reason I started this podcast is because I feel like men have been disconnected from being men. One, two, with all the technology, a man can send you messages and do all of these things on their phone and computer and social media. When you meet that man in person, that man is a weak man. Like he lacks that ability to be able to be in person because he's so behind the screen. And I think that's the new generation. In my generation, we had to go knock on the door and go up to her and ask her for her phone number. It was uncomfortable and it made us a little stronger. And I think the men now are missing that. So that's the reason that I started the podcast. But as I'm doing it, a lot of the men, we have a lot of issues that I didn't know that we had until I started exploring them. And I'm like, wait, I have that. Hey, I feel that way. Hey, wait a minute. That's not normal. And so my first question would be, because you talked about, things that are not even related to the psychology, like homelessness, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're homeless, obviously your life is different. So the way you act is different.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming you can clear me up, but in trying to find a person, and you're trying to seduce someone, or you're trying to be charming and all of that, does your environment, right? Obviously, if you're a homeless person and you're trying to get somebody, it's a lot harder than if you're a rich guy trying to get somebody. So tell me a little bit about how environment and where you are affects or helps a man connect with a woman.
I think that it's not just the environment that you can't be at the necessary at the specific moment, but it's also like the environment that you grow up. And you know what I mean? What can impact the way you socialize and the way that you connect with other people. So yes, of course, our environment changes. If you have less resources, then you have to be more creative about how to approach people. It goes both ways, right? It goes both ways. It's not just unique of men. When you, let's say...
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt. Women think about these things?
What do you mean? Of course we do think.
Because we think, do I have money? And you ask her out, you don't have money to take her on a date. I mean, there's a lot of things that go in our heads. But what do you think then?
what
Sorry to interrupt that. We'll be back.
No. We think about those things. I think competing is like a nature thing, is like we all go through that. And everybody thinks like, oh, we only think about if we're hot or we're not hot. But no, we also think about, yes, there's someone who has maybe more education than I do and I'm worried about. And then we think about money when we're about to enter into a family, because that also defines the dynamic, right? Am I going to be the one raising kids at home because I make less money, or am I going to be able to actually go to work and support my husband and paying a babysitter? So no, especially nowadays, we do think about that stuff. And I think that this idea that we are, our worries are based on our gender is a little bit outdated. It's like not that way anymore. We're both equally worried about money and income, and we're both equally about being able to be successful and achieve our dreams. And, it's a human need. It's just that now we both have permission to express that side that was before a little bit kind of suppressed.
Okay, we're gonna go back to that, because now you open another door with the financial part. But I want you to finish your thought. You were talking about, we're doing this. No, because there's so much. Because if you open things that I wasn't ready for, especially the environment. We're going to go back to the financial, because I think that's huge for men. That's a huge problem or worry. But for you were talking about the environment, not just the environment that you are, but how you grew up. Obviously, how you grew up affects you. So what's more important, how you grew up or where you are now?
I think what is more important is I think both, coming from where you come from is kind of it gives you a set of tools, right? It gives you an idea, because you come from a place and you work with a certain amount of tools. But I think what is important is knowing when to change those tools. Okay, I don't need these tools anymore. Let's say if you come from a family that you had to be very aggressive or very outgoing and very take full control, because there were not enough adults, that you have to have the control because you had to be the adult in the house and the mature. And there was so much chaos that you were like, okay, no, I'm taking control of everything. You attach to that control and you get to a certain level. And then you walk into a family with a person who also has the ability of have some control and is also intelligent, but and you're like, no, but my whole life I've been the one controlling. So this is what we're going to do. It's not going to work. Right? So I think it's important to know what tools you have and when to change those tools, and when you don't need those tools anymore, and what tools you need to replace.
Okay, but do women prefer that control, or do they prefer compromise?
It's so hard to generalize, right? Because everybody has different needs and everybody has different wounds also. And remember that what makes us pick our partners is not always our needs. Sometimes it's our wound. And so, in life, you're probably going to have those two. You're probably going to be dating people because you feel more comfortable and there's a trauma bonding, and then your wounds feel a little bit close to home. And then at one point, once you're healed, you might find someone who is closer to who you really are. But that's kind of the life process. And it doesn't mean that women prefer stronger men or weak men or more outgoing men. It's just depending on where you are as a person and in your process and knowing yourself. That's what ultimately leads to the people that you will pick.
Okay, but do you value safety and energy? I don't mean just obviously a man, I don't know, that is gonna get in a fight to make sure that you're safe, or not just the physical aspect, but financial safety. Just feeling like, hey, I have someone that I can count on. I know this person if he doesn't have it, he'll find a way. Is that a value, or it doesn't matter?
I think it's good. Yeah, of course. I think financial safety is important for everyone, right? Knowing that is mostly knowing that if you have kids and your kid gets sick, you're going to be able to kind of take your kid to the doctor. And yes, financial safety, isn't that like a human goal? Is something that we all wanted to have, right? But to what price? To what price, right? For some women are like, okay, if this financial safety comes with a man who screams and is not giving me emotional safety, then I don't want this financial safety. I'd rather just be, not too safe when it comes to finances. So like everything is more like, okay, why do you want to pay for what do you want to have? What is your priority? And it's different for everybody.
Okay, so if a man is trying to find someone or date, and what would be the thing that he should work? And obviously, he should work on all of it, but what is the priority? Should he work on his financial stability, his emotional stability? Because it sounds like you said that you will not be with someone who makes you emotionally unsafe. You'll sacrifice the financial stability for emotional safety. And I'm wondering if that is more important, if emotional safety is more important than the financial safety.
I mean, now we're working, right? Women are working now, so we don't necessarily have to compromise financial safety because we're capable to work. There are jobs, there are opportunities. So think about this. Like, what is easier for me to get? Is easier for me to get a job, or is easier for me to get someone that makes me feel safe? Probably easier to go and make the money, right? So what will be most important? Because now we're equally capable of going to work and getting the money. So now we don't need to sacrifice safety for housing. I mean, in the worst case scenario, just go and join the army, and there you go. You have house and food every day. It's like you're in an unsafe place.
That's really a great point you make, because if you look at it that way, where you don't live it, but there's some countries that there's women still are dependent on men for the financial, and I think sometimes they have to deal with situations that maybe they shouldn't, but they don't have a choice.
But that's not their preference. That doesn't mean they're like they're looking for sugar daddies. That doesn't mean that they wanted to stay home, and that only means they don't have a choice. And that makes a difference, because when you don't have a choice, when you live in a place in which you cannot work, there is a lot of compromising. So living like you don't have choices in a place where you actually do. Right?
Okay. That's right. But we also don't come with a manual from the man's perspective on how to be emotionally safe. I mean, I don't think I even ever thought about that. Like I'm going right now. You just made me think about, like, I'm going back in all my history in relationships. I'm like, I have a lot of thinking. I don't even know how unsafe I was or safe. Like, how do we, man, know that we're providing emotional safety? Like, how do we know?
Yeah. I think we keep saying this, like, oh, we don't come with a manual. We don't know what it is. We don't know, right? We get our kids and we're like, nobody taught me how to be a parent, but do you know how to be a kid? So if you go back to the basics, I feel like it's really going back to the basics. I feel like we always say, oh, I don't have the ability to control, but would you scream at your boss? No. Would you punch your boss in the face? No. Then you do know how to control. You just choose not to control your anger in certain places. So it's very basic. I think a lot of times we're like, oh my God, this word. No, it is basic things. You won't punch people next to you on the street, then you don't do it at home. You don't.
Well, is that what, but emotional safety, because see, I think that crosses into physical safety, right? Yeah. Which I think that's a universal no.
Yes.
No one should put up with that, male or female. But or maybe, is there a difference between physical safety and emotional safety?
Yeah, of course. No, and I'm sorry, because I think you're right. I didn't answer your question about emotional safety and what.
No, but I think they go hand in hand. If you're physically unsafe, you're emotionally unsafe for sure.
Maybe. You know what? Not necessarily, because you can have a partner that's not aggressive, physically aggressive, but is dismissive. And so if I have an idea, let's say I have a goal, I have a project that I wanted to do. And if I know I'm going to come to my partner and he's going to be like, well, why do you want to do that for? Like, that's stupid. Who needs that? Or like, why are you always coming up with ideas? That's not emotional safety, because I can't open up about my dreams and goals and expectations. So maybe he doesn't punch me, but I also don't feel safe to share with him important things. So I think emotional safety, I think, is probably just being able to respect each other's like individualism and see each other as a whole person. And I don't know, it's so much to it that.
Well, look, even that, right? You do something, or you create something, you have an idea, and he dismisses it. Like, what are we supposed to do? Because what I said manual is this. We're not even thinking that you're feeling this way. Trust me, we're not thinking, oh, yeah. We're not thinking, I just hurt her feelings. I made her feel unsafe. We're not thinking, I'm watching the game. I'm, you know what I mean? Like, I'm very, or not me, but man, we're very linear. And we're doing this, we're focusing here. If we dismiss you, it's not out of wanting to hurt you. We don't even know, but you may go over there and feel hurt for I don't know how long. Then later you come back and you're like, what's wrong? And nothing is wrong. And then it's like the cliche. It's like happens over and over. What are we supposed to do with your feelings? When you express your feelings, are we supposed to resolve them? Because I've heard to not resolve them, to just listen. And then I heard, like, what do we do? Tell us.
Okay, what would you do if your friend is watching the game with you and tells you like, hey, you know what I think would be cool? And then share the idea. What would you say?
Can we wait for a commercial? I don't know, but if they say, let's say that it just
do something. What would you like, if you are in that position and you're on the other end, like, what would you like the person to say to you? Like,
if they wanted to share an idea?
No. If you want to share an idea and your partner is like, I don't know, doing her nails or like working or in a computer doing something important, or I don't know, writing a book, saving the planet, and you come and talk.
Or on the phone on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah. What would be a reasonable way to not dismiss your feelings and yet ask you for the space that she needs at the moment?
Well, that's the thing. I think, and I'm generalizing again, but men.
But
when we tell
you, what would you like?
Well, what I would like. Well, this is how we don't even get there to begin with as men. If I know you're busy or you're focusing on whatever, or unless you're on the phone right now, I'm like, oh, she's not doing anything. Let me tell her about the idea. By the time I come to you with that, I'm already going to execute. I'm just letting you know, hey, this is happening. And I think a lot of times women come with no.
Okay, but you're like changing you're changing the story. This is like we're imagining here. What would be okay? What would be an okay answer? Because I could tell you, oh no, yeah, I will hang up the phone. I'll go bake you a cake and I'll say, hey, congratulations. I'll put my, but we're both playing this game, this suspension of disbelief. What would you do? What would you like to hear?
Oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Right? Like just an acknowledgement, right? Like, but if she goes back to the phone, like if in your head, if you're thinking, oh, this is oh man, it's genius. And you want to hear that, like I want her to say, oh my God, you're a genius. Oh, bow down. And I go there and she's like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. And goes back to his phone. Then I am going to feel dismissed because my expectation was praise or whatever I was looking for. And I didn't get that. And I think, but I don't think, man, that by the time that we go to our partner or a woman with an idea or something, I don't think it's an idea. I think it's the beginnings of an execution. And I think women sometimes, you may have an idea, but it's not necessarily that you're going to stop, you're going to quit your job and tomorrow go on that. You're just expressing something that maybe you just want to have a conversation about, whatever it is. And we men, if you're not going to do that, if you're telling me, yeah, I want to, what would be cool? Like start a dog washing business. And then, yeah, that is cool. Yeah. You go back to the game. Like, we don't expect you to do it. Right. But so there's women just want to talk about it. It's like, well, man, we like to talk about things that you actually going to do. Like, oh, I'm thinking I'm quitting my job and starting a dog. Now you got our attention. Like, wait, what are you going to do? What? But if it's just an idea, and I think women, the expectation is for us to go, stop, drop everything, listen attentively, support and then go back to, and I don't know, am I making it up?
No, Q. What I think is, one, maybe you could be maybe generalizing, but also you're describing kind of a child behavior, like a girl child behavior. And I don't think when you talk about like a grown up woman, that's the case. I don't think we're like, tell me I'm a genius, tell me I'm a genius, tell me I'm a genius. I have this idea, I have this idea, I have this idea. I want to make a woman stand, I'm a woman stand. And you're like watching the game. I don't think that's what we're I think we as adults do. We come with things that we talk about. And yes, we don't necessarily do, just like a lot of things you guys don't do, but those are like everyday thoughts that come to our mind and we talk about it and we're like,
but they're fine to have these thoughts. But if you come from work and you're telling me about how this girl like spilled your coffee on purpose and she hates you and she's telling the manager, and you tell me the story, I'll listen, but like, what am I supposed to do? Right? Like what? Like, want me to go beat her up? I don't know. And I say, as men, we don't know what to do with the information you give us a lot of times.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you something. You're watching, what is it? Mean Girls too much, but also, no, it's different. We women, historically, we need to be more careful with our opinions and our behaviors and how we act because we can be perceived in many different ways. So when we have a misunderstanding at work, yes, we need to talk about it and we need to see all the different aspects of that situation because it's already hard to, let's say, be hired in different positions, right? It's already expected that we're going to be dramatic and it's already expected that we're going to be sensitive and it's already expected that we don't have a female president yet, right? So a lot of behaviors are expected. And so,
that's a whole different thing.
Oh, no.
You threw that in there, but that's a whole different thing.
When we have issues at work, we do need a process of exploration to see like the pros and the cons and the why and to understand and make an informed decision about how we're going to go the next day. Am I going to quit? I'm going to throw the coffee back at her. Am I going to,
But exactly, that's fine. And sometimes we need to vent. We as men might vent. It's like, hey, my boss, he's being a dick. But it's just, we just talking. We don't need you to acknowledge. We don't need you to come to work with us tomorrow and handle it. We don't. We
also don't need that.
Then what do we do then? For you not to feel dismissed.
The same as we do when you're talking about football. The same as we listen and then we, okay, oh yeah, okay.
So what do we do? What do we do?
I've never heard of a woman saying, babe, come to work with me tomorrow. Because I'm like,
I'm exaggerating, but I'm saying, what do we do with the information? If you just told me a story, a 15-minute story.
Unless there's a call for action, you listen because that's what a partnership is. And you know what? I've had this conversation a little bit ago with someone too that is like, oh, you just think because they listen to you. They just listen to you because they want something from you. But listening is a human skill. I mean, we got ears for a reason. Right, listening is important.
You're right, but when you listen to your story that you just told, how do we make you not feel dismissed? What behavior should we demonstrate so that you don't feel like, oh, he just dismissed? I just told him all my feelings. And what do we do? Do we go like this? Is there something we should do for you not to feel dismissed?
I think if you're listening, then there's nothing you need to know. Yes, there are some communication things, right? That are like acknowledging. There are cues that they teach you in first grade. Like you move your head, you nod your head, you say, you say, tell me more about it. And then you say, how did that make you feel? And then you say, well, that sounds hard. But the one thing is if you're listening, you're not talking, you're not changing perspective. You're listening and you're acknowledging the person's feelings. Like you're really understanding, okay, yeah, that sounds hard. You're not saying like, oh my gosh, what can I do? No, you just acknowledge and allow that person to feel what they're feeling without trying to fix it. Because when you rush to fix it, it's like, okay, we've been talking about this for 10 minutes. How do we fix it? Then that's it. Yeah.
That's a dismiss. Is that a dismissal?
No, but now you're making that person feel like you only had 10 minutes to listen, like you're rushing a situation, right? And then you can ask questions like, okay, what do you think would be the best approach? Or like, what are some things that you think you could do? Or what do you think will make this better? Also that's kind of an invitation to the person to come with her own solutions or with him solutions, right?
That's great. Actually, that's a great point. Like the questions. Yeah, because I think if you're interested in you don't have to resolve it, but maybe the questions help her resolve it herself and her. But what do we do here? I really don't care about the girl at work that's still, like, do I lie? Oh, I did.
But if you don't care,
or do I go?
If you don't care about what happened to that person, why are you even there?
No. You can be 24 hours interested in it. It doesn't matter if it's your partner, someone you don't know, or someone.
Yeah.
Eventually, two individuals are going to have interests that are not aligned.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you know? And it's a serious question. Do we act like we're listening and we care, so you don't feel dismissed, or are we telling you the truth? Like, you know what? I kind of don't want to talk about that right now. Or okay, yeah. Like, should we act? Should we lie? I mean, and trust me, we'll do it. We will lie.
No, we lie too. You think we care about everything that you guys do? Probably not. But like, the point is.
But what would be the right thing to do?
I think that comes
from a woman's perspective.
Every couple is different, But like, ultimately, then you also have to be okay with the person not sharing everything with you and not sharing a lot of things with you, which is what happened in couples, right? Like, I can, there's probably a lot of things that my ex-partner didn't know about me, and a lot of things that after a number of years, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but after a number of years, that person thinks they know you, and you're like, you think I'm vegetarian? I just went to In-N-Out, like whatever, which is
okay. No, I mean, that's
the things that you just stop sharing, and that's what start also. But the dynamics are different for every couple, because there are couples that are very honest upfront, and they're like, I don't care about it. I don't want to talk about it. And then they have things that they share, and they're very honest, and they can handle it. But at the end of the day, it comes to like, how mature are you, and how mature is the person that you're spending time with, right?
Well, yeah. But you tell them, like you said, I think we all have like percentages of things that we may share a little bit or none. And what, from a woman's perspective, should a man be open in sharing, or are there things that that you guys don't want to know? Or do you guys want to know everything? Because it seems, and again, it generalizes. All of this whole podcast is generalizing anyway, but generalizing. It seems that women are always.
I don't know.
Women are always asking questions, right? That's great. But you said that whatever, and then, 5 years ago, I told you I went. Yeah, but you didn't tell me that, and with men, well, I don't know, maybe some insecure men are going to probe this that way as well. But if we don't know, we don't know. Now, if we find out, it's different. It depends how we find out.
But what are you talking about? When you're talking about no sharing things, you're talking about no sharing that you spit coffee on someone, or you're talking about I dated this person, or I went out with, things that could affect the partnership and the relationship. Those are two different things, because I feel like personally, not as a therapist, not as a social worker, but as a person, if something is happening that it's going to change the dynamic in my relationship, and it's something that's kind of trespassing the rules that I had set or that we have set in place in our relationship, then yes, I expect to know. If I'm going to be affected in some way, if I need to make changes, if I need to act on something, then yes, I need to know. I want to know, because my life is here, right? We're a partnership at the end of the day. Then yes, I should know. And the other person should know if I make any decision like finance, finances or like dating somebody else. If we're not an open relationship, then yeah, seeing somebody else, and I should know. I expect to know those things because they have a direct effect on me and the relationship and my future and everything that I'm invested in. But if you're not
Okay,
telling me that I don't know that you got I don't know that you got a memorandum or the write up at work today, or that you were, I don't know, or that you had diarrhea or tacos for lunch and you don't tell me, then, then that's fine. Like you don't have.
no, but no, you know what I'm talking about, those big things. But no, but you're right. I mean, it's just whatever you're saying about that, because it just sounds great, right? It sounds like if we did that, we will all be married forever to whoever partner. Like if we did that, right? In this beautiful world. The reality is that when you meet someone, you really don't know if this is the person. So you obviously don't go on the first date and go, oh yeah, let's start. I was 7 and this happened. And, you go, so information gets trickled down slowly, sometimes years for that information to get to you. And man, we're not thinking that deep, right? We're not thinking, oh, I should probably tell you that I used to date your best friend. Like we're not.
You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't probably say that. No.
See, well, maybe that's a bad example. But
no,
we're not thinking of things that are gonna affect you if we don't need to, even if they would. Why do we do this?
That if you have to ask that question, maybe it's worth sharing. Like there is this thing that says, like, if you have to think about it, maybe you shouldn't do it. Like if you have to pass it by a filter, then maybe you should consider sharing it.
And then she'll leave you.
Then she'll leave you. I don't know what to say.
See, we're not gonna take that risk. But you see what I mean? No, but this is why you're here and not a man on the other side, because we will be agreeing like, we're not gonna tell her. But I agree with you as well. It's not that simple to just, this is the way some women too, I'm not saying not just man. If it's going to risk our peace, we will work around it.
Define that peace. Define that peace, because I struggle with this. I struggle with men trying to avoid conflict to have peace, and then being in hell, having to hide the phone, hide the computer, hide the passwords. Don't let the woman come to work. Don't let two friends get too close to her because they're going to share some information. And then, I don't know the concept of peace, right? Like, what is peace for you? Because to me, I'd rather have a conversation and then go to bed, and don't have to think twice about my phone or someone leaving me or having to tell another lie to cover the first one. So it's like, what you need to also understand what is peace for you.
Well, peace, I think, is universally where you're not worried. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Not hiding stuff and things like that. But you can compromise your peace. In Spanish, no hagas algo bueno que parezca malo, right? Don't do something good that looks suspiciously bad. But so we live in that realm of, if I tell her, even it doesn't even have to be like cheating or bad things. It could be something that she's gonna be upset if she knew. You went to the casino and I don't know, blew a lot of money. Maybe she'll find out, but maybe she won't. So we'll take that risk.
But also, like, I'm going back to, it's like a very childhood behavior, because like, why can you handle your partner being mad over something that is not the base, or like, like, why do you have to hide so your partner doesn't get mad? Like, can you handle your partner being uncomfortable with something? This is like being mad, saying no. Those are like natural feelings, like, I don't know why we're always trying to avoid. It's like for us, like we try to avoid negotiation, confrontation. That's something that I'm currently struggling with, because I'm like, why do I need to avoid this uncomfortable conversation if it's to set a boundary? And why do I get uncomfortable when people get upset? They have the right to be upset, but to hide things to avoid that, it's kind of a very childhood approach. It's a very way.
I can't argue with it because you're right. But also, the divorce rate and all the bad relationships out there are because of these boundaries that we try to force. Back when, whenever, I don't know when America was great or whatever, but back then, you know, you didn't have all this. You was like, hey, women, come here.
You could also
And give
marry
me a kiss. And
sister.
you got married, had 12 kids, and live, you know, you live life. And they marry you, 75 years. And now it's like, you cross a boundary. I want a divorce. I told you I don't like the refrigerator open. Like, I don't, like, I'm exaggerating again, but it's kind of like, please talk me out of it. I think these boundaries are ruining relationships. There shouldn't be boundaries. It should be like, I like it or I don't like it. I don't like it that you do that. I'm okay with that. Don't do that again. Okay, I'll put up with that. And that's a relationship. It shouldn't be like overthinking. He said whatever. That was very like a passive aggressive kind of statement. I should probably let him know that, no, I need you to tell me that I'm wrong or right. Am I right or wrong?
I'm not going to tell you. I don't know.
That means I'm super wrong. That's it.
How is your approach working?
Well, it's peaceful.
How are your relationships right now with this approach?
Well, I don't have that approach. I'm just saying, like that's. Let me think about that. Look, this is what works. You got to keep a percentage of things.
Don't tell me what works if you don't have a big sample of don't tell me that something works if you don't tell me I've tried this with 10,000 couples and this is what they come up with.
I know, but couples in Arabia or in another culture, right? Those boundaries are not going to work. You know what I mean? It's so.
How do you know?
Social. It's so environmental. It's so, we make it up here. In Mexico, Colombia, couples have their own way of being couples. So it's not good or bad. It's just more just expectation, like, oh, the woman cooks and she stays home.
So be careful because I'm from Colombia. I grew up there.
That's why I mentioned Colombia. Obviously,
how it works in Colombia.
That's why I mentioned. Not anymore, for sure.
In Colombia, somos un matriarcado. So it's the matriarch. So we women, we work as much as men and we have a worth as much as men. And it's like a specific, different people have different rules, different approach. It's really, really hard to generalize and it's not a good thing to do because at the end of the day, we are all a world, right? I'm a different world. You're a different world. And then we come in agreement and we all change in our relationships too. I can tell you, when we walk into a relationship, we change, we evolve. Our parents do, our partners do too. So you're not the same person that with your ex-partner, right? You're not the same person when you started dating her than after 2 years, than after the first child, and she was not the same person. And that's what we don't understand, right? That we change throughout the relationship, our needs, our wants, our desires, and our goals. And we have to constantly be renegotiating the rules and, okay, what's comfortable for you now? What is comfortable for me now is not what was comfortable for me 5 years ago. And I'm sure tomorrow and next year is going to be very different. So for people that are married for so many years, they probably went through a lot of transitions, but it was different. It's different for everybody, but I don't think that this is a gender issue. I think this is an individual. I think this has to do with expectations, what we want, and we're willing to pay for the relationship that we wanted to have.
So what's the point then? If we're going to change, if you meet someone that you like, and then later they become someone that you don't like, is it worth you changing, or what do you do in that case? If we're constantly changing, right, individually, as you mentioned it, I absolutely agree with what you're saying. But not thinking about it is well, then what's the point of the relationship? If you meet them and they're going to change and you're going to change and you might change that way, or is there a point that you kind of change this way?
change is not a bad thing, right? We become, with age and with more experiences, we also become more understanding of people's emotions and feelings. And we go through life up and downs. And then you learn that the person that you have next to you is the person you trust, the person that you can have a good friendship and maybe great sex too. Like, I don't know. It's different. It depends so much on what is important for you. And it is a constant negotiation, right? Some women could be like, I can be with a man who's really angry, but I will never be with a guy that drink. Or someone could say, I can be with a guy who's not financially stable, but is very, very emotionally stable and supports and wants to be home. And so it's a very individual thing, and it ultimately comes to what is important to each one of us. What are we willing to give up, to give in? Because, like, trust me, we always pay a price. There's always compromising. If you want to be with someone, there is a level of compromising. And there is this kind of synthetic happiness, right? Maybe you don't have the relationship that you dream of, but you have a good relationship nonetheless. And is that being okay with that, and being happy with yourself as an individual at the end of the day. But yeah, to say that is a woman, or to say that is a game and that we're all playing games and we're like winning and losing and then maybe it's.
So you say there, okay, there's no games there. Is it all real?
I think if I was in my 20s or in my teens, or if I was like, I don't know, probably early 30s, maybe I'll be saying like, oh yeah, I don't know what was I thinking back then. I don't think I thought it was a game. I just think like there were some people that I would kind of vibe with and others that I wouldn't. And there were some conversations that I was not interested in having. And there was not because the man was not a provider or because the man was weak or because the man, no, it was just simply someone who did not align with what my needs and wants were at the moment. That it was not necessarily something like a characteristics that the man had that were bad. Maybe they just didn't match what I was looking for or what I wanted or the relationship that I was able to have at the moment. So I don't know if it's a game. I just think it's like we're all kind of puzzles. And
yes, the puzzle is a great game. I like playing it. But this is the thing. So let's say it's not a game and it's really all real. Man, we get really confused really quickly because if not everybody, man, but if a girl smiles at us, there's a little part in our brain that's like, oh yeah, she wants me. I don't know. It's like natural. I'm not saying that we do anything about it. We're the cashier. Like, oh yeah, that cashier. Because it's kind of like how we build our own esteem in here. Now, when you don't like a guy, right? What are the signs that she doesn't like you so that we're not thinking, well, I felt like we were vibing or whatever it was. And then we were not. And then she probably knew from the beginning. So do you guys sometimes lead us on to believing because it builds your self-esteem?
I don't know. It's like, it's individually different.
Because you like being liked, don't you? Like for people to like you and even for men to find you attractive. Isn't that cool?
What do you mean? Can you say that?
Don't you like men to find you attractive? As a woman, like does it feel good?
I think if like it's good to feel good, but it's like an individual thing too. But yeah, no one can tell you like, oh no, I want people to think I'm ugly. No, we all like to feel good and love, and we like attention.
Yes.
But to the extent to lead someone to get that attention, and let me go back to the fact that I can't speak for everyone, right? Because we're all, I mean, look at social media. Isn't that what it is? Attention at the end of the day is in this way for you to get attention. Don't you get a type of attention from your videos and your Instagram and your pictures? Like, I mean, you don't do that so people call you ugly, right? Aren't we all trying to be seen and feel worth it in a way or another, right? You don't do these videos so that nobody sees you.
But I think
it's a human thing. It's not shame on that. To say that every woman behaves in a way to get attention, We can say this.
No, not every woman. But you guys are able to, what do you say, flirt. See, you got to see the dynamics. And I know you don't want to, you've stated already that it's not like a gender thing. This is why I think I disagree, because it's a complete gender thing. We don't, I'm not at the grocery store and women are like pulling me to get my number. Hey, let me take you out. No woman, you're not at the doing your laundry and some woman come, hey, can I take you to dinner? Like, can we, I mean, I'm sure it probably happens somewhere, but it's not an occurrence for us men that we're the hunted, right? So we have to approach what we think we like. And sometimes what we think we can get. So that gender thing is real, because women, all you gotta do is give a little sign of opening to a man. Just look over there. So you know how to do it. I don't know even know how you guys do it, but you do it, and it's like you got it, right? So because you get 20,000 guys and 20,000 messages a day, you probably think it's normal, but no, to us is not normal. So it is a gender thing. So if women are using it to get attention, but they don't want that man, but they love getting 20 messages every day about, hey, preciosa, hey, can I take you to dinner? Hey, happy faces, and a bunch of, I'm just saying that. Does it feel good? And not generalizing every woman, but do women play that? Is that a game?
I think you have to be very careful with that, in a sense that mentality is why so many women get raped, and because they think like, oh, she smiled at me, I can go for it, or like things like that. You need to be careful with that perception, because we are also taught to smile since we're kids. So that's another thing. So yeah, we smile at people because since we're like 1 year old, 2 years old, everybody around us is like, why don't you smile, 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 smile? And so this is something that has been socialized and is not taken into consideration, right? The fact that women, we, as growing up, we're told you gotta be nice. You can't be mean. You have to be nice. You need to smile. You need to be pleasant. You need to be kind. You need to be nice. You need to help. You need to stop. And so now, as we are older women, grown up women, teenagers maybe, smiling, saying hi, excuse me, helping you with the bag, stopping to doing everything that we've been told since childhood to do. Now it's like, oh, she's flirting. Oh, look at the way she looks. So that's where there is a disconnection in one society thinks, and now it kind of sets women for failure. You see, they tell us to behave one way, and when we behave that way at certain age, it's not cute anymore. Now it's sexy. So before you think that's a female game, think about the way we grew up and the skills that we were taught to have, right? The tools that were given to us. Look at the teachers, look at the social workers, look at all those jobs require a type of personality, right? You have to be pleasant. You got to be nice. You have to be caring. If you see someone in the street, if someone is hungry. And so those things are the things that also get women raped and molested and all of that. So be careful what you think. Hold on. Be careful when you think, oh, they're doing this because they want to get guys. Like, do we want to get guys? Or this is how they told me that I need to behave in the world to be seen, respected, and taken into consideration. That's number one. Number two, I also think that men has this idea that we get messages and all of that, and it's not really that way. Or at least, I don't know if it's that way. Maybe for other people, it's definitely not that way. For me, and I don't think that we necessarily enjoy that. I don't think we enjoy a person constantly asking us out. But I think that if you're curious about does this person really likes me, I think you'll have a better shot if you just approach that person and ask her, hey, are you interested in me, or am I, misreading the signs? And when that person tells you I'm not, then that's where you stop. Because then there is this other thing like, oh, she's playing hard to get. And so you're like, tell me, do you like me? Do you like me? And then the person comes and tell you, look, I think you're great, but I don't want to be with you. And they're like, oh, she's playing hard to get. See, she doesn't want me to know. And it's like, okay, everything is on your face. You're not getting it. If you call 20 times, 5 times, 3 times, that person is not answering. She's not playing hard to get. You don't want to get it, but she's clearly sending you a message. No message is a message. right? If someone is not getting back to you, that's a message. She doesn't have to text you back and say, look, do not call me anymore. I think she's been pretty clear.
That's deep. That's very deep. And thank you for bringing that point of, because I don't really know, but I've seen it where the awareness, it's a spectrum. There's some guys that a girl will smile and they really will think they're not there. They're like, dude, she don't, but there's also a gray area. There's a spectrum. There's that crazy guy that, thinks that. And in the gray area, we got to put in, well, if you are interested in a man, then how is that man supposed to know? How do we know?
You ask.
Well, that beats the seduction, right?
Why? I think being hot, oh my, that's hot.
It sounds like a business transaction.
No, it's not a business transaction. And you're not asking, do you like me from 1 to 5?
No, but
how much you like me? Mark, yes and no. But you can ask,
do you like me? Okay, you do? Okay, now I'll flirt.
No.
I think you start flirting and then you get
age. At this point in life, right, with adults here, right? I think it's very normal to approach the other person in a way like, hey, look, I'm interested in maybe getting to know you better, and this could potentially lead to something. Like, are you open to, get to know each other or no?
How many guys has that worked with you? Like, have guys ever said that? What you just said to you?
Guys say that to me. Oh my God, I'm out of the game since forever, but no.
No, but really, has it ever worked where you just in the bus stop and then some guy's like, hey, I was thinking we should get...
If a guy want to get to know you at the bus, I'll be like, how do you know you want to get to know me?
Thank you for proving what I'm saying.
Oh, you're talking about like this like street kind of thing, like at that.
Well, everything.
Okay, no.
Anytime.
Anytime. We're talking about like we work together, like there is like.
Well, there's got to be a vibe. Most guys are not gonna approach you if they know, if they don't, you got to feel that. Oh, I think she might like me.
I've been standing at the stop and then someone talked to me and they say, what's up? And I said, hi. That's your answer right there. Okay. You don't need to ask any further. That's it. And like, you need to know if someone look at you and say, hi, I don't know, there is something, then you can potentially ask like, hey, can I get your phone number? Would you like to get to know it?
Okay. That's what I'm saying.
You don't say, not right now, then you walk away. You don't say, why not? Are you sure? But why are you being like that? You got a man in your life? You could have... No, that's a no. You walk away.
Okay.
Why not?
But even before that part, what's the trigger? What is the cue? Give us game. Give us guys a clue. How do we know? I don't know. We're at the DMV. There's a girl over there. She's cute. We already know she's cute. We're obvious. We're looking. What's the cue for us to go, oh, I think she might like me too. And then go to the approach. And then you go, hey, maybe not or whatever. But what's that cue for that we don't think she smiled? I'm running over there. We don't want to go to that extreme like we talked about because that's where the crazy stuff happens. But that gray area, how do we know that you're flirting? How do we know that you're open to being approached?
Didn't you talk about that being nice at the beginning? You talk about risking and going and talking and how that was not there anymore? Is because you're not doing it anymore. Then if you do this and she say hi and you say, how's your day? And you say, good. Then you know. But if you say hi and she look at her phone, that's your answer too. Like, no. She's like,
okay, we hitting something really good here because I think this is really good. That's why I love, because your perspective is from that side, right? And I'm on this side, and I'm trying to tell, other men, be like, hey, this is what we need to do. Hey, so this is great. Look, would you like to get to know me? Okay. It's probably not going to work. So seduction to me, it's not seducing like, oh, I'm kissing your neck or whatever. That's not it. Seduction is in sales. It's a sales technique. It's where you go, you go and tell her something so unique that she's never heard before that even after you leave, she can't stop thinking about you. Not because you're manipulating, but because you, as a man, are trying to give yourself, you have a lot of competition. You try to give yourself the best chance possible. That if she gave you your number, she's going to be like, man, I want to know more about this. This guy was interesting. Like whatever the conversation was, even if it was short. So meaning before that happens, before that seduction happens, how do we know that you're not just saying hi because you don't want to be mean? How do we know that you're flirting? How do we know what kind of smile is it?
Q, when you talk about that being like a salesperson, I feel like you're trying to find the key to open many different doors. And I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't think there is anything that a man can say that a woman will not hear, like haven't heard already. You know, I don't think there's anything that a man could say that a woman would be like, oh my God, I've never heard that before. I really
There is. That's where the seduction is. In the fact that I never heard that before. I have a friend, let me tell a story that he met his wife. She was at a Denny's or something like this late night after the club, and she's eating with her friends. And he went and literally went to the table and put his finger on her coffee.
Sorry.
Bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
He literally went to the table, put his finger in her coffee, and said, "Hey, this is cold. Waiter, can she get another coffee?" Right? Totally insane. She was hooked after that. Like, you are like so crazy. Like, like that's his approach. I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I'm saying,
hold on, because let me ask you something. She was at a club. She was out.
No. This is like at the Denny's. Yeah.
I mean, she was probably already like mentally there, right? It's like when you said, if I said I'm going to go buy a black dress, I don't tell anybody I'm going to go buy a black dress. And then someone sees me on the street and they're like, hey, I'm selling black dresses and I'll buy one. It's not that she was a good salesperson. I was already looking for a black dress. So 50% of the work was done. You know,
yeah.
I was mentally already like I was like, I'm open to meet someone, but that's not the case when you're at the bus stop or when you're at lunch or when you're, so, I mean, for something like that to happen that easy and with such an interesting.
That was just an example, a different example.
And it won't fit every woman because like someone put a finger on my coffee, I'll tell them to put it away. What?
Then you would have never married him. That's what I mean. He found his other half by doing that. Okay, but you're right. That was a primed position to be in. You're a DMV again. You trying to get this, and you got to pay for these plates, and it's not a fun place to be. And you're waiting for your number. Like, and the guy goes up, and he goes something. Just I don't know. Like, hey, did you notice that the wall? So he notices something that is like obvious, but you didn't. And obviously, her answer is going to determine if you got a chance or not. If she goes, no, I haven't noticed, and goes back to her phone, like you said, yeah, you don't got a chance. But a real guide is not even going to go there and do anything until he knows that there's an opening. I'm trying for you to reveal, this might not be opening for everybody, but what's your opening? Like, so you're somewhere. How does a guy know that you like that? Hey, that's an attractive guy. I like him. I wouldn't mind him talking to me. How does he know?
Yeah, he smile and I smile back. And if you say hi, you'll say, how's your day? Good. Okay. And then, we go from there. That's it.
But you just said that just because you did that doesn't mean that you were attracted to him.
Yeah, but you don't know how long you're going to be attracted to a person, because I'm going to tell you the other thing that could happen is like, you can talk to someone from hi, and then they can come to your table, and after 30 seconds, you're not attracted anymore. Right? So that hi is just a hi. And that's the other thing. A hi is a hi. It's a hi and a bye. And nothing is happening there. It doesn't mean no one is getting laid. It doesn't mean no one's getting married. A hi is a hi and a bye. That's until there's something for both parties.
But we have to be now.
You know,
So you see,
I have a solution for it, man. Why don't you guys carry business cards and then let us decide if we want to call you or not? So you don't have to do all of this. Get your business card. You walk by and you say, "Hey, here's my number. I would like to know you or get to know you."
that is such a hot idea. You don't even understand.
And that's up to us. And so that way, you know, if we call you, we want to get to know you. If we don't, then you don't, print a bunch of them.
That's actually it's a very good idea. Like with like a QR code.
Yeah. That's it. Not QR code. Oh my God. Like phone number or something.
No. When you scan the QR code
though, with your number.
And you have my Instagram, you have all of my...
No. That you...
Is that too much?
You're going to look like you're looking for porn models with that look. No, not you. You're getting up like a Playboy costume. Not you.
Job for you. Can you come at 1 a.m. to the Motel 6?
No.
Have a job interview. Good one. You got me there. But
decent name, not cute. Put Alonso, Alberto, Michael. Full name, last name, so that she's like, I might be able to have this last name. Not like cute love or like...
cute love. But that's a great idea, actually. It's a great idea. But because I wanted you to see, my questions were coming for you to see how we have to analyze every little movement that you make. Did she say hi? Or did she say hi? Or did she say... We have to be now these experts at what kind of hi was that? I wonder if she's kind of still undecided. And for you guys, it's so simple. You like them or you don't.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
Am I wrong? I don't know. No one told me. I'm assuming.
A guy 6 months and he's like, well, we're not dating. We're just talking. And you're like, what? Wait, have we been talking this whole time? Because we don't talk that much. And then, or you might just not even have a relationship. And then the person sees that you did something and they're like, how could you do this to me? And you're like, I thought we were just friends. So no, things are unclear right now. And it's for everyone, Q. Like, relationships are very unclear. No one has to put a label on anything. Everything is so available right now. Men and women are equally available right now, apparently available, but also, looking for someone that can like heal their traumas and also help them in the future and help them better self, and then make all these modifications it is a transition at the end of the day, right? It's a culture transition, is a weird time to be in a relationship, and it goes both ways. We're struggling, you're struggling, and this is why people are like, you know what? I'll just love myself because it sounds like the easiest thing to do right now.
I love this, but thank you for sharing all of this with us. And I don't even know how long it's been. It's been a long, but there's so much. I don't think we even scratched the surface because we didn't even go into the money part. But I think this was way better because I think you brought a really good point up. I think a lot of men should know how to read these signs. That if she smiles doesn't mean that she wants you. But then again, I'm going to tell you another part of it. Just because she doesn't look and smile doesn't mean that she doesn't want you. Because I've noticed that sometimes when they actually do like you, it's when they try to act like they don't see you more. It happens all the time. Those actually, the ones that smile are very confident. Most are going to act like they don't even see you, but as a man, you feel a certain thing, right? So if you're bold enough, you still go up to her, and I disagree that you go, hi, I would like to get to know you. Let's get to know. I think you got to go with slowly, in the conversation. Because,
what's your pickup line?
There is a pickup line. That's the thing.
Which one do you use? No. Which one do you use? Come on.
No, but it's not a pickup. No, this is what happens. The circumstance got to be authentic, right? So like I said, for DMV, I'm going to point something that is here, that is happening. And we're going to bond if she's up for it of that circumstance. Like if we're there and I don't know, some guy comes in and starts yelling and we look at each other and I tell her something like, oh, that's me next. That's what I'm going to do next. And she starts laughing. We bonded because we live in the same circumstance. So it's not a pickup line.
Yeah, that's my dad.
I mean, like, I love him. He's just like me. So we have a lot in common. You're going to love me because if that's your dad, they say that women usually like men like their dads. Like I'm perfect. But meaning that's the problem, that men do have pickup lines. Hey, whatever. Would you like to get to know each other? Like it's not authentic. It's better to just be real and be like, hey, I love, even your shoes are a little dirty, but they're nice or whatever. Like tell them, be authentic you. Like, because also if you're not a jokey guy, not every guy is going to pull humor out. It's not going to work for them. Not every guy is going to be serious. I'm a just jokey kind of guy. So I'm going to hit you with something that I'm comfortable with, that I know that's where I rule. Now, this other guy, his thing is, he's 6'5" and, that's his thing. He don't need to tell you a joke because he already know but you got to be authentic and you got to hit it. Now, is there a pickup line that has worked on you? No. What has worked for the man that have conquered you? How? What worked? That's what we want to know. We want the inside information.
I think the man that I could say, okay, what was it? I feel like he believed in me at one point, and he was different than everybody else.
Wait, that sounded wrong, but yes.
No. He saw me maybe like in a very dark place, in a very dark time, and very, I would say in a way, lost, right? And like I was used to like a lot of people in my family not saying anything because I was like, oh, this is a crazy one. And like I kind of left my house like when I was 12, and then I was like this person that nobody, the people were like, this is a waste. She's a waste of time, a waste of money. I was not a good student. I was like, like pretty, bad. Nobody liked me. Nobody wanted, it was like my mom, poor thing. She really, really struggled with me. And then this guy, and then I moved here, right? And then I was trying really, really hard to prove myself and in a very dark place. And this person was like, you know what? I trust you. I think that you can do so much more. And I think that you can do better. And I want to be there to see that. And then I think that day I was like, oh my God, I was committed to make him feel very proud of me, and I just grabbed onto it because I was like, this is the first person that ever believed in me and I cannot let him down. And I just grabbed onto it and I completely changed my life and I completely started behaving very differently to like his standards, right? And that really helped me for a while, right? Until a lot of other things happened. But I think what happened was like he believed in me and I was committed not to let him down for so many years. And I was very grateful. Very grateful. And I think I will love him forever for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Cause, wow. I think you hit seduction in the head. That's what I'm saying. It's not sales. Probably that wasn't a good comparison. He seduced you by empowering you, by making you feel seen and special.
Yeah.
You were seduced.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. He saw me. Like he saw so many things I was able to share with him, like my ideas, my crazy ideas, my jokes, the jokes that were like everybody was like, "Oh my God, be quiet," that I used to do, jokes and all of that. And he found those jokes funny and he will tell me, "Yeah, this is good." And he would be like, "You're gonna accomplish so many things, you're gonna do great, you're gonna be all of that." And then I was every day working like, oh, shoot, I cannot let this person think that he was wrong. And then, and then it got to a point where it was, a lot of things were not true. And then other things happened and we ended up breaking up and the relationship was over and all of that. But I think that really made me feel important for someone. And I did love him. And, I love that he saw me as a powerful person and not as a weak person. So he gave me that confidence. And it's good when a man makes you feel confident. And then the dynamic changed when he started making me feel unconfident about things, because then I started working and now it was like, oh, you're too much, or you're too loud, or your clothes are too bright, or too many colors. And that's when I start losing it, because I'm like, you could try to put me back in that box and that's not going to happen. But anyway, to your point, yeah.
But look, that's deep, because do you think that in the beginning he seduced you with providing that confidence for you, and then once you got that confidence, well, you didn't need it anymore, right? So the dynamic changed because what he was providing was not longer necessary.
I think the dynamic changed for many other things. I think there were a lot of behaviors that I had that I was not aware of in the relationship. And like we walk in this relationship and it was like Cinderella, right? Like, oh my God, everything is bright and beautiful. But of course there were some residual, right? Some leftovers of the person that I was. So I was very, like my temper was bad. I was very, I had a really hard time. I was learning a lot of things in a very short amount of time. I was learning a language, learning how to live in another country, learning how to be with a man, learning how to be a mother, and all of that at the same time in a very short time and in another country by myself and alone in a house while he was out working. And so I just really, really struggled not working for the first time, having to ask for money to buy toilet paper. There's no meat, there's no milk, when I was like the food provider back home and being the one working and doing everything, to suddenly move into a house where I was more like a princess, kind of sitting there and doing things that I never knew how to do. And so that dynamic changed, and then realizing that I was not going to have time or support to do all those great things because I was at home taking care of a kid and dogs and a house. And he could, meanwhile, keep his life, which I'm not complaining, But anyway, that's another podcast.
No, but it's deep. But no, but you can't touch on that, and because I think that even though it's very uniquely painful for you, I don't think you're alone on that. And I also don't think that's not a gender issue, because I think looking at it from his perspective or whatever, like that, when if what he was providing is something you stop needing, there is going to be a change. And I'm not saying that that's what happened, but sometimes that's the beginning of the end, when you no longer need what this person seduced you with. The magic is gone. That you lose the seduction. You lose what attracted you. That attraction starts becoming, now actually, like when you have two magnets and you put them the other way, it's just repelling. Do you believe that maybe that happens a lot in those relationships? Because I think we see it from that end too. We're providing and we're giving and we're there. We're supportive. Then when that person no longer needs that, then problems start, because now you don't feel appreciated for giving her everything that she first was what attracted her to you. And then you're like, you still giving that, and they don't want it anymore because they already got what they needed. Now they're in another level and they want to do something else. And then us as men is like, wait, but this is what you this is what became. I became this machine that gives you this, and now you don't even want this. Is that a possibility? That's the beginning of the end of the relationship.
I think we change, and I think he had different needs, and I had different needs, and I think that for the person he wanted to be, for the level and the status that he wanted to have, he needed a different person, which he eventually get, but he eventually met that person that matched that life and status and kind of perfection that he needed and wanted, and he felt entitled to. And that's great. He worked really hard, and he deserved to have a partner that he felt proud of. I think that was the main thing. I wasn't here to, like, back then, right? I was barely learning a language. I was barely trying to understand how to live in this country. I was barely trying to process everything. And he was already kind of growing in a very, like, high class kind of space. And he, maybe needed or wanted someone that was more like him, maybe more educated at the time, maybe more kind, and maybe more able to, like, carry certain communications and behave certain way. And maybe someone who just was not like me. Maybe I was not what he needed at that moment. And not that he was a bad person, but our needs changed. And I was still, there was a lot of work that needed to be done in in me as an individual. And now I know that. Now I see that, because there was a lot of things that about myself that I didn't know back then, that I was trying to figure it out. And, and that was it. And I still, I will forever be grateful with him. And he gave me the most beautiful gift that a person could ever have. And I love him for trusting me. And I, it's all good. Only good things. We both changed a lot too. And I will never forget, though, that he was the first person that ever trusted me. And I will do my best to, like, not let him down. Even though I want to.
Wow. That's deep. Okay, well, take us out with this. It goes hand in hand with this. Do soulmates exist? In a woman's perspective, right? Because in the Disney movies, all that is like, the meant to be together kind of couple. In a psychological perspective, is it biologically even possible that there's a person that's made for you?
Yes, I believe that there is a person that's made for you. I believe that. I don't know as a therapist, but I know as a person, I believe that there's people that are made for you, but I don't think it's just one person. And I think you have a soulmate for every stage of your life, that you grow and you change. And I think sometimes that soulmate could be a friend. Sometimes that soulmate could be, like a mentor. I think there's people that you're meant to get to know in this life. And there's not just one of them. That I strongly believe. And when we limit ourselves to all that love and knowledge and support to come uniquely, like solely, how do you say that? Like just from a partner, then we're limiting ourselves for all the good experiences that we can have and all the great people that we can get to know.
Wow. Well, then that's why you're suggesting that men just continue looking for that soulmate every day, and you find one today and then get one next week.
That's what
So like, she's my soulmate this week. This is my stage.
I'm saying,
May
as a
17th.
allow yourself to have friends, female friends, male friends, any other gender friends, neighbors. Allow yourself to connect with humanity. Allow yourself to connect with the neighbor across the street, with the person from the store, with the lady from the laundry. Allow yourself to be friends with a girl. Don't miss that. Don't miss talking to a woman until like 4 a.m, drinking a beer and just talking without having the need or the effort to have some type of control or relationship with that person. That's what I'm saying. Like, allow yourself to be friends with your teacher, with your professor, with the guy from the car, like allow yourself to connect, to interact, because like knowledge and information and love, and we're all a source. Everyone is a
Yeah.
source.
So are we biological beings or spiritual beings?
We're both.
Because biology is about procreation, right?
Is it? I don't know. I don't pass biology.
Well, it's the human evolution. You attract a mate, you procreate, and then your kids have kids, and the world continues for millions and millions of years. That's biology. That's just like, we can't hide that. Spiritual is the belief that we're more than that. That there's a reason why the biology exists. So I guess my question to you is, what's more likely, that we're spiritual beings or biological beings?
I want to.
As a woman.
Oh, yeah, I think we're more spiritual beings, but maybe we're both. I don't know. And maybe there's like.
Because men, that's what I'm saying. I think we're more biological. Like, we're spiritual. Again, generalizing again, just to finish it up, right? The men, even though we can't connect spiritually, and there's some men that evolve a little bit more than others in that regard, we're very biological. When we meet most men, when they meet a woman, they're not thinking, I wonder if she's my soulmate and we're gonna connect and have talks and be friends. We're not. Most men are not thinking that way. Most men are thinking, I like her. She's hot, right? In a biological way. Do women look at us men that way? Like, oh yeah, I'll do him. Or do you guys go, maybe he's my soulmate. Maybe he's my spiritual partner. How does it work over there in your mind?
It's both, just like you guys. And it depends where that person is at that specific moment, like mentally and emotionally. I don't think women don't ever say like, yeah, I mean, have sex just for the heck of it. Like, I think we're both equally to connect in different ways. But I think I feel like you're maybe limiting this to like a partner and couples, because like, what do you feel when you hug your kids? Do you feel like biologically, or do you feel like a spiritual being? When you see them smile when they're playing in the park, you're a man. Do you feel like, oh yeah, that come out of here? Or do you feel like,
hey, no, hold up. Don't
good?
be making sense in my podcast.
No.
Wow, that's deep. No, that's
You
that.
know,
No, I know. I just saw it. I
you
felt
don't
it.
say, oh, I'm not, we don't connect them.
I felt it.
No. You do. What do you feel when you look at your kid when they're asleep, or when they look at you? Do you feel like, yeah, I did this? Or you don't, right?
That's me.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
high five.
no. You look at and
You got me there. That's deep. You use spirituality for me right now. That's spiritual for
yeah.
sure.
So yeah, you have this.
Thank you so
It
much. I
just
mean,
shows like we're just conditioned to limit those experiences and those moments to specific people and times and places. But is there? Is there when you go see your mom? Is there when you go to your old town? Is there when you walk the streets that you used to walk and you feel like you came home, right? And it feels like you can finally breathe. So is there?
wow. So, lastly, give us a piece of advice. Something that will live on after we're gone, and in 100 years, someone watches this video. What's a piece of advice that you can give us man? One, just one, but that will change us for the better and make us become better for you.
Drink water.
That's it? That's going to live for 100 years? We don't have a
I
choice.
think that one thing that I think has helped me is nothing happens. And sometimes like what we make of things is much worse than what is actually happening. So like be wise with those fights that you have. Be wise with those bad moments with the people you love. If you have kids and you're fighting over the tablet and the TV, and like be wise, because maybe that bigger fight is more damaging than the act of removing the item. And maybe the big fight of you and me and we're fighting and we're winning is really louder than just sitting down and coming to an agreement, right? So be wise with those fights, because at the end of the day, they're so like worthless. And as you get older and you look back to the older fights, you're going to be like, I don't even care about that anymore. There's so many things that you're not going to give a fuck in the future that you're fighting for today.
Wow. I say wow because that was the last question, but now you brought it. We're going to leave it. It doesn't matter what happens from here. We're not going to expand on this. Does toxic masculinity exist?
Yeah, just like toxic feminine. I mean, it goes both ways. There's toxicity.
Wait. Toxic femininity? There's a thing like that too?
I mean, I think
a woman can be too feminine?
No. But like everything, all this information that we're getting, right? All this information that we're getting and that we're using, if we don't know how to use it, everything is toxic, right? Alcohol, if you don't know how to use it, could be like everything that you don't know how to use is toxic. So yeah.
But malhood
is toxic, especially for you guys, because it deprives you from so many experiences. It prevents you from having partners, and it makes you kind of like carry on people that really want to walk with you and share the burden of things with you. And that masculinity is preventing you from having really, really productive partners, so that you can relax a little bit and be a little bit more lighter and enjoy a little bit more life. But you're so attached to this idea of what being a man represents that you are denying yourself of someone telling you, hey, I can carry that with you.
I'm just going to bite my tongue because this is just like a whole other episode, because I said I was going to leave it there because I knew, because once you started describing that your advice was for us to, and I think it's great advice, to be mindful of our behavior. Like obviously, yeah, like we're very aggressive at times, and I mean, we get out of a normal conversation a little bit to prove a point or things. Women do too, but
we do.
Toxic masculinity is saying who we are. We need to, basically, we want to be castrated. Like, no, like you don't be, take your testosterone and bring it down. And, is that what it is? I mean, am I wrong?
No, that's not your testosterone.
No, what is it?
No, if you're getting too much, then yeah, maybe go see an endocrinologist. But I don't think that's your testosterone.
But masculinity, being a man.
No.
Being a man, like boys is like, when when you grew up as a boy, it was like you climb trees and you climb rocks and you go over there and you run. And I was like, no, that's not the way to behave. You gotta, and because the girls probably, when I went to school like a million years ago, the girls go over there playing with dolls and they were calmed down and stuff like that.
But no one is criticizing men because they climb trees. No one is saying they shouldn't climb trees or drink beer or play soccer. We're not, that's not what we're saying. We're not criticizing men. We're not asking for anything. We're just asking for equality. I think if you don't want the other person to be equal, then you need to look into that, because we're not telling men like, oh no, you shouldn't be playing soccer, go swimming, or we're not telling men.
But are we equal? I don't mean that we both should have the same rights. We both should be allowed to be happy however we want to be. But are we, as a male, female, are we able to do the same things? Because I believe that we can't give birth. I know there's some people out there that probably think I'm wrong. I don't believe a man can birth a kid. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm telling you what I believe. I don't think that you could. Maybe one day I get proven wrong. But
that means that one of us is less important in raising. But can
No,
can a woman give birth without a man? Like can we have a kid without the male contribution?
no, not in
Okay.
biology. In society, it's changed because, well, whatever million reasons. But in biology, you need the male and the female
Yeah.
in evolution. And no, but the toxic masculinity is saying we just want your procreative part, but we don't want what comes with that, which is we used to go and hunt buffaloes and protect our kids so that these tigers don't eat them. And then we go and these other men are gonna come and try to, take my little daughter, like, so we have to protect, like we come from having to be protectors, providers. We used to go 3 weeks without eating to try to get food to bring back to the family. So we can't go from that made us survive all of these millions of years. It's the same thing with women, being motherly, being there for the kids, breastfeeding without food, doing all kinds of things. And I don't think that we can say that now we're going to now be equally. Now, I'm not talking about at
Why?
work. We're not talking about
Why can you go from that to this? Didn't you go to Uber Eats already? Or you're still hunting? Why
the
are you
hunting
comfortable
has.
with going Uber Eats and then now? I mean, there's some changes that are okay for you, and there's some other changes that are not okay. Well, you're not hunting anymore, so you can be home with the kids.
But it's still
You're
no.
not doing anymore. Why can you do these other ones?
But the nature's still there. You could take a lion and put him in the circus, and he's a nice lion. He'll bite. Don't mess with the lion. That lion's still a lion.
Okay.
We can be civil. We can sit here. We can share ideas. We don't have to stab buffalo, but we still that lion. We still that man. We still have that same instinct that the caveman had in order to survive. We just have channeled it into other areas. But what's toxic masculinity to me, again, I'm sure if someone's going to correct me, they will. But to me, it's saying stop that nature, that what nature gave you naturally, stop it.
What is that thing so what is it that, explain to me. Is anybody telling you not to go to work and not to provide?
But it is not about just that. It's what comes with that comes with a little bit more of a temper than women in a different way, right? So we may not be like a woman, like maybe, expressing her feelings or whatever. And then maybe one day we just yell, hey, stop, right? Not out of, and that's a bad example of male masculinity aggression, but meaning.
And you pick and he picked the king of the. He's like, we're closer to the monkey than the lion. Just I'm just putting it out there.
But whatever.
He's like
we cannot we can't just stop be a man. There's some certain that comes with the wanting to provide.
What are those things? Okay. What are those things that come with being a man that you think that this time is like taking away from you? What are some things that you're like, you can't take that away from me?
For example, if because work is different, because work, it depends on the kind of work you do. Now, women can do whatever they want. They can go to war, right? Or I don't know what the policy is now, but meaning you can join the army. Before, it was just a man thing. That was, let's say, toxic. But now you're gonna have 4 guys, and these guys are like all they do is just train for special missions, and they're gonna go in another country. They have to retrieve this briefcase, and they might have to kill, and then they might have to do a lot of bad things. Basically, men, I think, are like, okay, that's toxic. But can you replace one of the men for equality purposes and put a woman there? Or you think so?
Why not?
Because there are that's what I mean. We should have kept opening, because now you're gonna leave a cliffhanging on this. There are different things that women are good at that we're not good at. We never will be. But there are things that we can do. We can lift heavier things.
Women can do that too.
You cannot lift as much as men.
Who said that?
Get the strongest man and the strongest woman in the world together. She will not be able to lift whatever the strongest man in the world can lift.
But she can carry some. Obviously, they're in the army too, right? Aren't they fighting? Aren't they like pilots and all of that? Like they're not. What is it the men are doing that women cannot do?
Let's say that, like roofing, right? Women
don't do that.
Coal mining.
Women do that.
I know, but what do more women do it?
Why don't more women do it?
More, yeah. You do have that one woman that she'll do it. But why is it not 50-50 like we won the equality? Why not 50% of the co-workers women?
There are a lot of single moms there out in the world. I don't know if you're aware of that, because we're taught to carry the kids and take care of the kids, and there's so many parents that go
Not thought. You have to. Right? Do you have to? If you don't breastfeed and you don't get like or what?
Yeah. So to answer your question, it's not because they can't. It's not because a woman cannot be in a mine. It's because there are other things that women are expected to do or we have to do. It's because we've been doing other jobs. Or it's not because it's not lack of ability. It's not a lack of knowledge.
So do you think that a woman boxer should box a man boxer? Should Mike Tyson get in the ring with whoever is the strongest boxing woman?
No.
Why not?
I mean, I don't know. Is there like a mixed boxing if they come up with that? But because they're female boxing and male boxing, and why would a woman fight a man if they could fight a woman? Like, I mean, that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't prove that women are not allowed to do those.
No, it's not that they're not capable. No.
Yes, boxing with another woman.
Yes, but the reason she can't box with another, because it's just physically we have an unfair advantage in that aspect. Okay. Physically, you have an unfair advantage in building a human inside you. Okay. If we play our roles, you play your role and I play mine, we can live really, really good. That's a great partnership. When we're competing because you believe that we should be equal, now we're competing to see how equal we can be. And now I have to bring down my malehood, my male toxicity, so you can have, it's like saying, get the women boxer and the male boxer, but don't punch her hard. Okay. Can a woman be a doctor and a man be a doctor? Is there a disparity there too? No,
be scientist and men be scientist.
Yes.
Okay. So,
but there's certain things, it's not always. Our male toxicity is also not always. We're not, people are in court, they're lawyers or doctors, they're not being, hey, yeah, I'm a man. Like, they're not being men all like that, like they're trying to do. But it's like, oh, you can't, like, what's the thing that we're talking about? Oh, you can't open your legs as a man, like when you're sitting somewhere, because that's women's spacing or something. I don't know, like you're taking a women's space away. It's like we got to put, like, at some point we got to be in nature. We got to follow our nature. And being that male toxic.
I think you're putting a lot of things together, and you're putting you're putting biology in the same box with public opinion and gender bias, and there's a lot of things there, and there are a lot of things that are true, there are a lot of things that are scientific, and there are a lot of things that people just repeat because they've been saying those things, and there are a lot of things also that don't have like a proof there, like a background. There are a lot of things that you cannot fight because we don't really know. So I think that before you have any of those conversations about what women can do and what men are not doing and why are they not doing, they need like a further explanation. And I think it's bigger than are we stronger or are we not stronger? And if you look at those things from just one lens, or like we're stronger than you and you're stronger than me and you have uterus and we don't, then it becomes like a very basic and unproductive conversation because it's not relying on like facts and science and actually looking at the socialization and how it happened and how we come to be in the space that we are, because this was not always true actually before World War I. There were a lot of women in the field working, and if we go back in history, there's a lot of history of women being in fields working. There are a lot of tribes in Brazil where women are the breadwinners. So before, maybe this is like an anthropology conversation, and maybe to come to terms with that information, you need to have maybe like an anthropologist or someone that can actually back up this information and bring real knowledge, because it's bigger than are we a lion or a monkey, and it's bigger than the pain that we might carry because of the way we've been brought in society, and the pain that we carry because we had certain roles, and the pain that we are dealing with because we're trying to catch up with these new times and trying to understand how our partners are also changing. So it is a deeper conversation that needs more information and more humility, like being
I agree.
humble.
But I'm going to give you my personal experience. I've been in a few failed relationships, quite, one or two or 20. But looking back, the comment, because I was like, okay, why do it's got to be me. They all can't be crazy, right? What is the common denominator in those failed relationships? And it was my lack of being a man. I was that equality person. I was that supportive, sometimes to the point of not doing what I needed to do as a man so that she has the opportunity to do something. So if I would have said no, probably some of those relationships would have worked. And I think my whole point is to give the message is like, be a man. And if a woman thinks that you're too manly, you're not the man for her. Because it used to be where, hey, what's up? I'm a man. You're a woman. Come here. Let me be the man. And women used to love men. It wasn't about equality. It was like, we weren't even thinking about being equal. It's like, I just want a man and he wants a woman and we come together. Oh, magic. Now it's like, I gotta be a better woman because you're not letting me, come up or whatever. Do you think my failures, and this is really the last one. I knew that it was going to open it and I was like, but do you think my admitted failures come from what I think that I've figured out? Because I'm giving you an assumption of what I think, looking at me, if I would have been a bigger man, a more manly man, where I'm not trying to, like balance like be supportive and like and then I end up not in a relationship, and then I end up with nothing. Now I got to build myself up from zero, and I've done that over and over again. It's like I give, and then end up with zero. Give, and then it's like I should have probably just been like, no, that's not what we're doing. This is what we're doing. I should have been more of an alpha male, and I should have been like, yeah, no, we're not doing that financial decision. No, and I think that would have saved a lot of stuff rather than me trying to accommodate the one time that I don't want to. Now it becomes like, oh, what? You've done it all these years. You better keep doing this. Are my failures from that?
I think, but I don't know. But I think that it sounds to me like those failures were more you could attribute them to maybe you lack of setting boundaries and you lack of prioritizing yourself, and not necessarily because of your gender. And in that case, I think that is something to work from your personality and not to just give it to your gender. I don't think you would have been fixed by being more manly. I think by being more assertive with what was important for you, and to kind of be more assertive to draw the line when it needed to be drawn.
Thank you so much. Actually, what you just said, I got to go sleep on that. Like, because I did have it in the gender. I think you're right. Here, in this part, I don't even remember. We talked so long. I don't remember what we were saying. I didn't agree with the gender thing because I thought it was gender. This I agree with you because, but like assertive. That's what I'm saying. Eh, that's the toxic masculinity. Like if you're assertive, you're like, oh, like you're trying to.
Assertive is a personality attribute. It's not it's un atributo de personalidad. It has nothing to do with gender. Women can be assertive, men can be assertive. Being assertive is actually important in any type of job that you have. So being able to know what you need to say and say it in the way that is understandable, and being able to sit on a table and negotiate what your needs are in a respectful way. And respect, and I mean respectful to yourself too. Right? And say, this is what I need. This is what I think is best for me. And this is how we need to divide the time and the responsibilities, because I am important too. That has nothing to do with gender. And if you really, really want to be honest and look at it from another perspective, you want to see, because most likely this is something that you also struggle with in other aspects of your life. So maybe get out of the sentimental aspect and the relationship aspect and look at how is your relationship with your friends. And if you feel like you give too much, or you end up in unwanted situations because you don't set the line, or because you don't want to say no, or because you don't want to sound mean, or you end up maybe paying more because you don't want to ask for why is this for in the receipt, or if you end up with things in the car because you kind of avoid returning things because you don't want to go through that, then you might need some work there when it comes to boundaries and assertiveness.
Wow.
Not a gender thing.
Ouch. Ouch. We didn't have to do it like that. But absolutely. And thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for doing the interview. And if, do you do anything private? You work somewhere, or do you do any, like if someone needed, because what you just did, it doesn't seem like it because I'm just acting, but it's very deep for me. It's deep because I'm real, and what you just said, threw me for a loop because like, wow, I wasn't assertive. I mean, I gotta go think about it. I gotta go to watch this over and over.
Think about all the other relationships that you have and you had through the time, and see where did you end up in those relationships, and how do you feel about saying no and saying I can't, and not showing up. I know you talk about ghosting. Sometimes ghosting is a lack of assertiveness, right? Because you're not able to hold that conversation when you actually tell someone, hey, I really don't want to see you. I don't think this is going to work. And so think about all those little things, because they might be little indicators of a difficulty, like having those kind of an avoidance.
Wow. No, I got to go through all the relationships in my head. That's going to be a while. And but I'm sure there's going to be a common denominator there, because I think I had I had a hunch that I wasn't in the wrong, but I was close with assertiveness, but I was putting it into a man thing, into a gender, like you're right.
No.
But do you do anything privately, or like, do you do any kind of consultations?
You have my number. You have my number.
Yeah, no, but I mean, but later you give me the link. No, like a link or something. You don't want weirdos calling.
Oh yeah, okay.
No, yeah, no.
You can do it.
No, I definitely need a consultation. You just opened up a can of worms. I can't sleep tonight. I'm gonna be like, wait.
We have the nonprofit Creative Case Management Solutions. I can send you the link.
Okay, send me the link. So I'm saying, if someone is interested, especially we're really, really bad at asking for help. We just don't believe in it a lot of times. But the way that you're doing this, I think, is proven that someone might, like whatever, they could probably feel comfortable with you, because I don't feel judged by you, right? You're telling me just kind of your assessment, but I don't feel like condescended on, like, oh, you're wrong. It's more like, look at it from a different perspective. And I'm doing that, and I'm like, yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, and sometimes people think, I feel like I think of therapy, like come have a difficult conversation with someone that's not your mom and is not going to stop talking to you or hate you. They come bring those points, really talk about what you think, and listen to the other part. Like, I wish we all could do that with friends and family. And when it comes to politics and all of that, because we need that, right? We need to bring every information to the table and then kind of dissect it together with the other part. Because if we just do it with the ones that agree with us, and there's no point, there's no growth. So I think sessions and therapy is not just like, oh, I'm going to go and be a better person. It's like, no, I'm going to talk about these hard things and kind of open it up with someone that's not going to judge me and is going to give me another perspective without an agenda. And that's, at the end of the day, language. Language is important in talking about things. You know why animals don't kill themselves?
No, why?
Because they don't have language. So they don't have the internal narrative telling them to the point that they just go like, fuck this shit. And then they're like,
but are you sure that animals will kill themselves? I never heard of that, but I believe it.
Like we do. We have that internal conversation constant telling us a lot of things that really drive us nuts. Like we have like, you're this, you're all of that, you're stupid, you're making a mistake. And then it just gets bigger and bigger. They don't have that. They don't have anybody telling them, oh, you lion, you're really a lion. You think you're all of that.
But who is that? Who is that here then? Who's doing that to us? Is it us?
It's everything. Like it's us, it's what we hear, it's what we think is right, it's social media, it's our parents' voices, it's our neighbors' voices, it's what we think, what we believe, what we're being told, what we want. And it's just like that competition of every day, ding, 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 ding in our head. You don't see all.
So it's like a collection of voices.
Yeah.
Like when when you were 6 and your mom told you something that is still here. Wow.
Oh my God. And it goes deep. It's heavy. I remember one time someone told me like I was trashy, and then I exploded. And then I remember, oh, my neighbor used to tell me that it was like all these little voices. And sometimes when like right now I look at the house and in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm trashy. And then I'm like, no, I'm just creative. I have to get out really quick.
But you use a trash. Well, meaning that you're messy.
Yeah.
Because the translation for trashy is kind of like,
No.
But I know what you meant. That's why I'm clearing it up.
Así como que, ay, que desorden, no sé qué.
Yeah, no, but I'm clearing it up because I know what you meant. But trashy is more like, trashy, like a girl that's trashy. But I think you meant messy because anybody will get mad if they call you trashy, even if you are trashy. But you're like, hey, hold on.
And then, yeah. And so sometimes like, like I'm working and I'm like, oh my God, the house again. And then I have to remember like, shh, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. You're none of that. You're just busy. You're not.
And it never goes away once you have those voices?
No, it goes away, but you have to be conscious, like where the voices are coming from, and like being conscious of like, no.
No, but meaning it'll come a point that they just stop coming because, or do they always, do you have like a storage and you can't erase it and you can just suppress it, but maybe, I don't know, like how would that work?
No.
They're always going to be there?
You just have to be conscious and aware to bring you back to the present moment. This is what meditation does. This is what being mindful is, right? Being back to like bring your attention to where your feet are. Just like kind of ground yourself. That's what we say. So they not those, monkey mind is telling you where to go, what to think, and how to feel. But anyway, that was a fun fact. We gotta go. It's been 2 hours.
You just brought out some meditation. So thank you so much for doing this. And I'll put the link here so anybody that's watching to be able to contact her. And like if you want to book a session, I guess contact you directly. And if you're a man and you like this style of talk, you need this. It's very. I feel so good now. Like I feel like, oh, I feel like I got to go think about stuff, but in a good way. I'm like unlocking things in my brain, especially that boxes of voices. I have a lot of those bad ones. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.